Well, it is the new year, so we're going to talk about some New Year's resolutions. We're going to talk about some of the top ones that people usually talk about, and then we're going to end with just a little bit of stuff that's been on my mind recently.
That's good.
I hope you guys enjoy. Welcome back, everybody, to Mish Men Podcast. Today, you're here with me, your host, Dustin Labar, and my partner in crime to my direct and immediate left, Mr. Adam Mauser.
How do you do?
We hope you all had a very enjoyable and Merry Christmas.
Yes.
I did, although I was really sick for a while, which is a big pain.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was very
You were out
sick.
like the week before, maybe?
Yeah, I was like sick for like 2 weeks. You
Yeah.
can probably still hear it in my voice a little bit. I'm
Yeah.
a little bit like, oh, but it's getting better. I'm sure it was COVID, so I just went and got 7 vaccinations.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
In one sitting. I was just like, load them up, baby.
Just get it like a bottle of vaccination this size. Drink it.
Just please fill this up with vaccine, please. I'd like to just drink it.
It's an IV drip.
I didn't obviously go get tested. I think that's over, right? You don't have to go get tested for that stuff anymore. Yeah, I didn't think so. Not that this is but I just wouldn't do it. Not for anything other than I just don't want to do it.
Because you're just sick.
I have a cold. I'm a little cough. Didn't feel very good. Called it, actually, greatest invention ever. I don't know if you use it. Do you have Teledoc with your insurance?
No.
Dude, you basically just call the doctor. It's some doctor that they have to have a license in the state that you're in.
Right.
But you basically call them and they can't see you and you're just telling them what you like. So you could just be like, I was just like, I just want medicine. And he was like, okay, I'll just send it to you. And I was like, perfect. And that was it.
That's it.
It may have been a 30-second phone call. And then he called in the prescription. Didn't even have to get out of bed to do it.
I'm going to look into that.
I mean, it's like, I think it's $30 through my insurance.
Oh, that's
money
well spent right there.
I don't have to get up.
Yeah.
I don't have to go to the doctor. And
right.
they basically just give you whatever they want, whatever you want.
You schedule an appointment like for next week. And like, well, I'm not going to be sick next week.
Yeah, I'm sick now, butthole.
And then you sit in a room full of sick people.
And if you weren't sick, you're going to be sick.
Yeah.
And then just the waiting thing, that's like my biggest fear as an adult now. It's like waiting in lines, like waiting for stuff. It's the worst.
It is.
I try to never have to wait for anything.
It's a waste of your time because you could be doing other things.
A million other things.
Yeah.
But that Teledoc is, you're not going to believe this. We're not sponsored by Teledoc, but I give them a seal.
I thought they paid for this table.
Yeah, I wish. I stole this wood off of a job site. But it really is in a pinch 30-second phone call, boom, done.
I need to look into that.
I mean, it was fantastic.
I wonder if TRICARE pays for Teledoc.
Is TRICARE a branch of insurance?
So TRICARE is what military people have.
Okay.
And then I have TRICARE for retirees because I retired from the Army, so I get the health benefits. It's kind of nice. It's cumbersome.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good insurance. Okay. And so I don't have to fiddle with negotiating insurance.
Yeah.
Except for eyes and teeth. I got to do that separate.
Yeah. I have pretty good insurance, the Blue Cross Blue Shield for whatever Alabama, and it was like they like promoted it. Hey, we cover Teledoc, and I was like, I'm never going to use it. And then one time I was really sick and didn't want to go to the doctor, and I was like, well, this is the best thing ever. Yeah. So I think they probably have another. There's Teledoc, and I think there's another. There may be another one that your insurance covers, but it's worth the look into it.
Yeah, it's definitely.
So hopefully that you don't get sick, but if you do,
Teledoc.
Teledoc, TELE, not like TELLA doc.
Gotcha.
I just wanted to be clear about that.
Like telephone?
Yes.
Teledoc.
Correct. Yes.
Telegraph.
Correct. Yeah. And you can do an audio call if you really want. If you have like a boil and you want to show them or something, you can video.
A bunion.
Or I wonder how many. Now that's a really funny thought. Like how many doctors get like catfishing to look at something they don't want to look at it.
Or like, hey doc, I broke my leg. Well, you're actually going to have to go see a doctor for that.
I can't do anything about your leg.
But for like routine sickness, that's like a winner right there. It helps everybody out.
If you
don't clog up the emergency room or whatever.
9 times out of 10, if you're sick, they're going to give you a broad spectrum antibiotic.
Right.
And why did you even have to go in? They literally could have done it over the phone.
Right.
And so that's what he did. Broad spectrum antibiotic. He actually doctors there are good doctors and bad doctors.
Sure.
And he actually gave me some information on some different stuff that I thought was very helpful. that it wasn't just like here, like he was like, you may want to take this with it for stomach stuff, and you may want to do this.
Like supplement stuff?
Yeah. Not like stuff I could buy at the, he was like, you may want to go get some probiotics because they can screw with your stomach.
Yeah.
I recommend these ones.
Yeah.
You can just buy them over the counter. I would recommend this. I was like, my sinuses are really bad. He was like, well, you know, this antibiotic should clean it up. Here's what I would suggest: take over the counter medicine. So it was like a little bit more than just throwing a bunch of different prescription medicines at it.
Have you ever used a nasal rinse like a neti pot?
Yeah, I have.
But then also Dr. McCullough, I've been following him for a couple of years for different reasons. But anyway, iodine. You put it's like half a teaspoon of iodine in about a neti pot size of water.
Yeah.
And that iodine will kill the stuff because that's, those bacteria, virus, whatever it is, the bad stuff is just residing in your sinuses in the back of your throat, just lingering.
Right.
But iodine 2 or 3 times a day for several days, and it clears it out.
Oh,
yeah.
And you do it with the neti pot.
I do it with the neti pot, but you got to you get it in there and you got to kind of snort into the upper sinus cavities.
Yeah.
And it's not the most pleasant. It's not unpleasant.
Yeah.
Because I mix a little saline packet in there.
Yeah,
but it's good stuff.
Okay. Well, if you're listening to this episode, it is the day after New Year's.
That's right.
So we thought we would talk a little bit about New Year's stuff. So this podcast has been going on for almost a year.
Almost.
March, because we started it right before Finley was born.
That's right.
Which is beginning of March. So we'll probably have a 1-year celebration coming up here in the next little bit.
We need maybe a live episode where we get our vast audience.
We could do that. We'd have to get a little bit more technical support in here than just little old me. So we'd have to...
Yeah.
And maybe get intern Abby here to join in the celebration.
Abby the intern?
What did I say?
Intern Abby.
Abby the intern, yes.
Yeah. Let's make sure we get the nomenclature correct.
Sorry, my fault. I thought when you questioned me, I was like, did I say intern the Abby? So one of the big things that pops into everybody's head when you talk about New Year's is what?
Resolutions.
New Year's resolutions.
That's right.
So I talked about, I pulled up a list of, I don't know exactly how many there are, but I thought we'd just go through some of the lists, and then we can talk a little bit more in detail.
Sounds good to me.
I was gonna have you guess at some of them, but they're so you'll be fine. The first one, or one of the biggest ones, is raising money for charity.
That's good.
It's a good resolution, but I feel like a resolution is overcoming something. Do you know what I mean?
Like, I'm doing this, and now I need to need to change this habit, so I'm going to start with this new year.
Yeah, it's hard to do this thing.
Yeah.
Like giving to charity, you could just do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, a lot of folks that do, they just do it regularly anyway.
Yeah.
And then, starting it might be a good resolution. I'm going to start giving more to charity.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good one. Here's one that we probably all should do: using social networking sites less.
Yes. I got to admit, since we started this podcast, I find myself on there more.
You can really go down into a pretty deep hole once you start searching stuff.
Yeah, it's unhealthy.
It really is unhealthy. It's a pretty big problem.
There's a lot of mental illness, especially from young kids with too much social media exposure.
Yeah.
They just suffer from depression.
There's a lot of stuff that's popped up recently about kids, and it really is true. We didn't have to worry about even me. Social media, Facebook came out when I was in a senior in high school, so it wasn't that. But I shouldn't say it didn't come out. It was people. More people were logging into it.
Right.
It was already a thing. But I mean, I could understand being a young kid, girl or boy, and seeing this crap online and just going into a deep hole.
Oh yeah.
I could really understand it. So, but they also see their parents doing it now too. So
yeah.
It's another one of those things.
I didn't get a Facebook. That was my first exposure to social media. Yeah. Besides LinkedIn, I did LinkedIn, but that's more of a job thing.
You didn't do MySpace?
No, I did not.
Really?
I didn't do Facebook until 2017, something like that.
You're like, this isn't going to take off.
The only reason I did it, there was some kind of contest at the gym that Scott was running.
Oh. And
it required having Facebook. I was like, I don't want to do this.
I'll be honest with you.
And I regret it.
I have a Facebook. I keep it because there's a coach's chat through Messenger. I never go on Facebook. And I'm saying, when I say I never go on Facebook, never.
As much you never go, like you don't like things either.
I specifically don't like things, but that's a different stance. I don't go on Facebook because you know why I stopped going on Facebook actually? Is because there are so many people with terrible opinions and it just keeps coming up on your feed. And and it was that was during like COVID and everybody was so negative. And so I was just like, I'm just not going to go on this anymore. I don't have to look at this. So I just stopped looking at it.
I don't go on there too much other than my buddy, Sean. He is like a Facebook guy. He's retired and rides bicycles and stuff. And but he's like a meme guy.
Yeah.
And so the memes I share with you, a lot of the times those came from Sean.
Facebook is considered an older person's social media network.
That fits because Sean,
I believe,
he's like 2 years older than me, 18 months, something like that. But he looks really old.
Oh, okay.
Like even older than me.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, I know, right?
Jeez. Is he okay? Spend more time with family.
That's a good resolution.
That's always a good one. Volunteering or doing more charity work. Cutting down on drinking. There's one thing I can't stand in my life. It's a quitter.
That's right. I'll have none of that.
I don't want to say. Actually, he probably doesn't care if I say his name. But I had a conversation with a guy recently, and we were talking about we drink whiskey with him at the gym. He's a guy that goes to the gym, and he said something to the effect of, "I'm not drinking anymore." And I was like, "You're not drinking anymore?" He's like, "No. I shouldn't have said that. Just not every day." He's like, "I'm still going to do it on the weekends and all that stuff." I was like, "Oh, so you're not really stopping?" He's like, No. I said it wrong. I'm just cutting back a little bit." And I was like, "Yeah, that's fair. I don't want a quitter. I don't want a friend of mine as a quitter." Taking up a new hobby.
That's good.
I fantasize often about playing guitar, and I have one.
Yeah, you do.
I should just do it. That should be my New Year's resolution, to learn how to play Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah. Learn couple chords.
I already know G.
And if you knew C and D, that's like 30% or that's like 80% of music these days.
I mean, I can do that.
When I say these days, I mean the past 50 years or so.
I mean, could I play some Johnny Cash songs? I fancy
Definitely.
those. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, he didn't have
I hear the train a-coming.
Yeah, and that's slow as all get out. Like, I should be able to figure that out.
I sang 2 songs in karaoke. Recently karaoke. Folsom Prison Blues.
I love that song.
And He Stopped Loving Her Today by George Jones. It has nothing to do with this resolution. But
there was a time in my younger years where I was infatuated with Johnny Cash.
Really?
I don't know why, but so it was. I think it's when they remastered one of his albums or something, and then he also did that 9 Inch Nails cover. I Hurt Myself.
Yeah, that's that's a good song.
And then around that time, Walk the Line came out. The movie. Yeah,
that's a good movie.
It's such a good movie.
Yeah.
It's such a good. And when you watch it, you're like, rock and roll back then was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, all these like Elvis, him, they're all just doing blow and like freaking out, like doing pills and all this crazy stuff. But I was infatuated with him, and for Elvis with a little bit. I don't know why. It was like my rebellious phase where I was like, "Oh, these people are listening to stupid music. I'm gonna listen to Elvis, Johnny Cash." I'm such an idiot.
Conway Twitty.
Yeah, Conway Twitty. Yep. All those. Who was another guy back in Johnny Cash's era that was pretty famous? He wore the glasses.
Oh, Roy Orbison.
Yes, correct. Yes, Roy Orbison.
That's tough to say.
Taking up a new hobby and giving up smoking are on this next to each other on the list, and I thought it said taking up smoking, and I was like, God, that's a bold.
That's aggressive.
That's a bold. I'm gonna start smoking. Giving up smoking. If you're doing that, you should probably stop.
Yeah.
Just if you call a teledoc and ask them about that, I bet you they tell you the same thing.
You probably don't even have to call teledoc. You could just call anyone or some random person. Should I quit smoking? Yes.
There's probably some people that'll be like, no, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever smoke? Have you ever smoked a cigarette?
I have.
Like a lot of them, or just like once to try?
A lot of them.
I used to smoke cigarettes, and they were so good.
It's that nicotine. I mean, it's addictive.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the habit of having a cigarette.
It's a social. It's like coffee.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. I quit all that at the same time. like all of it, but it was like I fantasize every once in a while, but like God, a cigarette would be pretty
It's just
awesome.
once you start, you can't stop again.
I know for a fact if I had one,
Yeah.
the wheels would come off.
Right.
I'd be a 2-pack a day.
Be out there smoking, doing burpees.
I'd have 2. So I also Laura would divorce me, but
Yeah.
that's
Well, you stink all the time.
you stink all the time, and you think you don't stink, but you stink.
Yeah, you
And
stink.
Actually, the smell, not a cigarette specifically, but the stink, because I quit, the stink of a cigarette on somebody makes me sick.
Yeah.
Like if I smell somebody that's just been smoking, like it's on their clothes, it's like that musky, like gross smell.
Or when they do the thing like no smoking in this restaurant, so they're like puff, 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 and then they throw it down, they walk in,
Yeah.
and they're just like reeking of a cigarette. It's disgusting.
Can I tell you how many times I've almost come to blows with subcontractors that will be outside and they'll be like walking into the house, like smoking, and then they'll just like take like one more puff and then they'll just walk in the front door of the house. And I'll be like, you still smell like cigarettes in a brand new house.
Yeah, we're trying to sell this house.
You idiot. And he's like, no, I threw it outside. I was like, I understand. I understand you threw it outside. Thank you. Do you want me to thank you for not smoking inside the house?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you air yourself off out there, butthole, before you walk into this $600,000 house that I'm trying to sell? Which brings me to my next one, which is perfect. Decorating or renovating my house.
Yes.
With interest rates being a little higher, there was a lot of renovation going on. But now they seem to be teetering back down. So people are going to be starting to buy new ones now. So if you are out there and your New Year's resolution is to buy a new house, you should come see me.
Yeah.
Or Adam, and he'll send you to me.
That's right.
Either one of us is fine, to be honest with you. Pursuing a career ambition, something that you're doing a little bit.
Yeah. Like voiceover.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's slow, but it's possible to break into that.
Yep. I had a really great idea about doing an audio-only audiobook that was produced by RFTB Podcast.
I'll read it.
So I thought we all could read it. We all take chapters and we just kind of read through them. We just have to come up with, I thought it would be, well, we could talk about it off air. Andrew was a negative Nancy about it, so he doesn't get any of the money. He's out now.
Yeah.
Now he's made me mad. So if this thing sells a bunch, he's out. Just to be clear. I wanted to say it here first.
Yeah.
Andrew's out. He's
It's
out.
now recorded for posterity.
Yes. So Andrew, if our book hits it big, even if you're a part of making it, you're not getting any of the money. So
no royalties.
Yeah, zero royalties.
You could we could post it on a sample on. Are you talking about a book that we write?
Yes.
Or just a book?
A book that we write.
Oh, okay.
So but we're not like, it's not like writing it. Like we're obviously would have to write it, but we're not going to put it into print. It's just going to be an audio only book.
That's
I heard somebody did it recently and I was like, that's a great idea because it's more scripted than a podcast and you could do it about something particular, like long, very, very long form. Very, very long. So I'm going to actually pursue that a little bit. My New Year's resolution, I'm going to become famous on the guitar and do an audiobook.
There you go.
2 of them right there. Saving money, we can skip that one. You spend it if you got it, baby. I just talked about off air getting a tattoo, another tattoo. But it is important to save money. You should save money.
It is.
You should save money, but not at the cost of having a good life.
You should
can't
save
take
it,
with you.
but put it in something that will earn more than the rate of inflation.
Yes, correct.
Because your money becomes, you put your money in a safe and then take it out 20 years, you've lost money.
Saw Costco was selling gold bars.
I heard somebody talking about that.
So we should do that, huh? Because that fights against inflation.
It's a good hedge against many things.
Yeah.
I invested one of my money market or one of my Roth IRAs converted into a gold and precious metals IRA, like physical gold and precious metals.
Yeah.
So it's stored somewhere in Delaware, and then I could go look at it if I wanted. But
The gold
and platinum, silver, and there might be one other.
Todd's probably in swimming in it. That's when you see him.
Yeah.
I heard this. Maybe I heard it wrong, and we'll have to look it up. I heard that all the gold in the world could fit in an Olympic-sized swimming pool.
Yeah, I've heard that too, and I'm suspicious of that.
How could we know that?
Yeah.
How could we know that? We couldn't know that now. Maybe all the gold that exists
That's been refined.
has been found.
But I don't know. That still doesn't seem like a whole lot.
It's not very much.
No.
But although a little bit is pretty expensive.
When you see Dr. No, there's like way more than that.
Yeah.
And that's real.
Scrooge McDuck
Yeah, he was swimming
I mean,
in
that
gold
was
coins.
way bigger than Olympic
Yeah,
size.
that's legit.
Yeah, that's based on a true story. It's
That's
a
right.
Todd Slyman story.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Improving my diet. That's always a good one.
Yeah, especially after the
I
cheese and bread eating fest.
have not done a good job about last night. Laura was like, "Are you hungry?" And I said, "No, I'm just going to have whiskey." That's what
Oh, man.
So that's what I had for dinner last night, although it was a rough day at work. So to be fair.
Yeah.
And Finley was being cute, and I was like, I just want to play with Finley and have a whiskey. I don't really want to eat. So that's what happened. She's growing quickly.
Yeah, she is.
She's fun. She's doing a lot of, she really wants to walk and stand now, but she just hasn't figured it out. So she's like kind of standing, and if you hold her, she'll like move her feet a little bit. It's like she's trying really hard, so it's pretty fun.
This is when the personality starts to really come out.
She's got a personality, man. It's like Laura. We were hoping there was going to be a little bit more of my personality in it, but I think she's got Laura's. Like No was her first. Like she says that all the time. Like I'll be like, Finley, don't do that. She's like, no. Like don't. How could this already be happening? So I started putting her in the dryer. It seems to.
That's right.
It seems to shake that right out of there.
Show her who's boss.
Yeah, show her who's boss. Losing weight. I think that's always
tied together with
diet. Exercising and improving fitness.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That brings me to my next point. You should definitely come to CrossFit Invigorate. Not at the 5:30, unless you pass the vibe check first.
Yeah,
and then you can come to the 5:30.
Yeah, by invitation only.
I think it should be like a members only club. Like
Absolutely.
Like we have jackets.
Yeah,
and then we can vote somebody out. Like if they start being not cool.
Yeah, just do a peer review every once in a while.
I'll be like, Dave, we see that you've really started taking up too much space in the gym.
Yeah.
We're going to have to either straighten that up, or you're going to be a 6:45 guy from now on.
And James, the coughing,
James, you're going to have to cut the coughing out, man. Yeah. What is this? A sick house? We can't have people coughing like that all the time.
Not a nursing home.
Yeah, my God.
But you should definitely exercise.
You should exercise. The CrossFit Invigorate has many good classes. 5:30 a.m. I wouldn't come to it.
No, 6:45 is pretty.
6:45 is a great class.
Yeah,
great, good coaching. I would, I'm coming out of retirement and doing some coaching this year.
Good. I like your coaching.
I'm going to start doing. I'm definitely taking since Chris Dwyer's leaving finally. I'm going to take definitely one of his classes, so either Tuesday or Thursday, and then if I can work it out with my schedule and I can actually get a workout in, I might take Tuesday and Thursday mornings.
Good. I enjoy your coaching.
So I'm coming out of retirement. I decided that it's time. It's time. I'm like the Dark Knight Rises.
That's right.
I'm not the hero that the people want. I'm the hero that they need.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So I've got a Batman mask already. It's going to be pretty.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And you better have a cape.
I have one, and I already figured out I'm at my first day back coaching. I'm going to drop from the rafters. Like nobody's going to know what's going on.
Yeah, we'll just be like, hey, is there a coach here?
Who's coaching? And then I'll drop from the ceiling.
Are you going to talk in a low, gruff voice?
Yeah, of course. Yes, of course. It's going to be pretty good. I've been practicing it. But you guys are going to be in for a treat.
I can't wait to see the Batmobile.
I've got a grappling hook as well.
Excellent.
Yeah, I figured I'm going to use that to get people out of the gym. Like, I'm not going to use it to hook things. I'm just going to shoot people, but it's a less than lethal weapon. So,
now is Andrew Weiss going to be the Robin?
Robin. I'm going to be honest with you. He's not cool enough to be Robin. Yeah. He could be like, what's worse than Robin?
Batgirl.
Batgirl. He could be Batgirl. Yeah, he could be Batgirl. Maybe I'll get him a T-shirt.
There you go.
Yeah, he needs to come in and watch me a little bit. So a couple things while we got time. So it's been a fun year so far. Well, it's been a fun year. It's coming to an end. I look forward to another year of podcasting.
Yeah, me too.
We'll have to have a New Year's celebration, or a 1 year celebration, I should say. I don't really have any traditions for New Year's. I never was a stay up to midnight kind of guy. I did it a couple times with my friends when I was like in college, but I'm not like that. So me and Laura won't do it this year. Like we won't like put Finley to bed and then be like, let's stay up. We'll go to bed at 8 and then we'll wake up and it's next year. Do you have anything that you guys typically do?
So I'm not a late night guy either. It's a struggle for me to stay up to midnight. We used to, when the kids were little, we would be able to fool them.
Yeah.
And thinking like when it was midnight in New York City.
Yeah. You're
like, hey,
watch out.
All right, go to bed. But now obviously we can't get away with that.
Yeah.
But the kids like staying up to midnight, and we usually play games or do something like that. So we'll play games. Abby has Abby of Abby the Intern fame.
Yep.
She loves playing games, and she always gets a variety of games. And she got me a fun game for Christmas. I had it on my wish list for Amazon.
Okay.
Called Ransom Notes.
Oh, that sounds fun.
And it's basically a bunch of just random words, and you get a big pile. You have about 75 tiles, each player, and you have a little magnetic plate that you put these magnetic words on.
Yeah.
And then you draw out, and it says like, tell the person to your right that they don't look good in those clothes.
Okay.
And so out of the words you have, you fashion a sentence that says that. It's kind of fun. Could
you play it on a podcast, or is it too long? Is it too long of a quiet time?
There's it's supposed to be about a 90-second
quiet
time when you're working on it, but we end up taking a lot longer than that.
If we could do it on the podcast,
we could.
If we did the big podcast with all of us,
it would be something fun to do.
Yeah. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
That does sound like a fun game. It's something that's like right up my alley. For Christmas, Mabry got me, I think you're going to enjoy this, make your own conspiracy theory.
Oh, yeah.
So it has a bunch of magnetic words, and you can, like a bunch of people's names or acts or something, and you can make your own conspiracy theory.
I like that.
I'll send you a picture of it. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Start breaking into it. I have a very, very fond memory of one in particular New Year's, and I'm 36 now, and so this has got it was 2000. It was 99 to 2000.
Oh yeah.
So I had two older sisters. So that was 24 years ago. So I was 12. So we may have had my little sister. We may have adopted my little sister. Anyway, it was pretty much just me and my parents, or maybe my little sister, but she's probably asleep. If we had her at that time, we adopted her. But we had a pull-out couch downstairs, so my mom made it a family night. So the couch got pulled out. We bought movies, and it was I remember I was really scared because nobody knew what was going to happen at the turnover. All the computers are they're gonna think it's 1900 and everybody's gonna die.
Yeah.
But we watched two movies, and these stick in my mind even to now. My favorite Martian, but with Christopher Lloyd. The remake of it.
Oh, they did a movie.
They did a movie of it. The remake of it, and Harry from Dumb and Dumber. Who the heck is that?
Jeff
Bridges. No,
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges.
Yep.
And then we watched Wild Wild West with Will Smith.
Oh.
And so those that's a very vivid memory in my brain. So it was one of the things that I'll remember forever. I guess one of those things. So that was something that I'm sure I'll want to do with Finley when she gets a little older and can understand what the heck's going on.
Yeah. We did. So I was in the desert. I was deployed to the desert in 99, 2000 through that New Year's. And we didn't know what was going to happen either. And so we have a lot of GPSs. We have in the Black Hawk at that time, that's what I was flying operationally. It was a Doppler GPS. So it used GPS to correct, but it used Doppler radar to determine your rate of movement. And then it was just corrected with the GPS. But we didn't know if the GPS was going to work at the 99, 2000 break. And all of our computers and all that sort of thing. Of course, nothing happened, but we were all heightened alert.
Do you think that was on purpose, that scare? Because nothing happened.
No, absolutely nothing happened.
Nothing even missed a beat.
I don't know if it was on purpose or just ignorance. It had to be one of those two.
Because they were like, listen, when we make computers, we only let it recognize 2-digit years.
Yeah.
And we think what was going to happen? The computers are going to be everybody needs to have a covered wagon. That's we can't have.
Stock up on food.
Yeah, because they were everything's gonna shut down, and then I remember when the ball dropped and I closed my eyes and then I opened them and the power was on.
Yeah.
And I was oh, everything is totally cool.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Yeah.
That was good that nothing happened. I wanted to touch on. We have maybe 5 minutes. This is probably a longer conversation, but we can talk about it more in the future. I've listened to a couple podcasts recently. One I think we briefly talked about. I just want to talk about some things that I'm mad about. So I know we talked about that. David Grush was on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah.
He didn't say anything. I was
anything of substance?
Nothing.
Yeah.
It was so annoying. I was 3 hours of my life gone. He didn't say anything cool, and it was very annoying. So I thought, I needed to say that again because I thought about it on my way here. I was like, I need to drive that point home. Then there's a place in Texas called Ways to Well. This is Ways to Well.
Ways to Well.
So I've been telling Todd Slyman to go here for several months now for his shoulder. I didn't really know the guy's story too much, but he was recently on Joe Rogan's podcast, and everybody should listen to it because he doesn't talk about his business very much. He talks about healthcare, the broken healthcare system, and what the heck is going on.
Yeah.
Because he's been in either a pharmaceutical rep, or he's owned a pharmacy, or he's owned this Ways to Well for the past 20 years. It's pretty wild when everybody I think knows it's a corrupt system.
Yeah.
But nobody really sheds a lot of light on it usually.
Yeah, the corruptness was revealed recently, but you're right. It's still not sticking.
You don't really because you're happy when you have insurance, right? Because it's a thing that you need. But there's these new things, which Ways to Well is one, which is a cash-based company that doesn't deal with any insurance.
Oh, that's good.
And they're they're probably, more expensive than what you will pay for but I'll say this, a lot of the procedures they do, insurance doesn't cover them anyway.
Right.
So there's no way they can bill for them. So what he was saying basically is it's not health care anymore. It's sickness management.
Yeah.
So they only pay for stuff, they're only going to pay for stuff that you're already sick and they want to keep you sick, this pharmaceutical companies. So it's this vicious cycle. So basically what he's saying is he's I can give you a genetic test, these certain things to tell how your body deals with certain nutrients and how all this stuff does. And we used to be able to bill insurance for it, but it's a preventative care or proactive care.
And they're not interested in it.
They'd have not only are they not interested in it, they will come after you if you try to bill insurance for it.
Right.
They will send the DOJ after you.
Yeah.
To do that. So basically,
what a system, huh?
He was saying on it that basically he bills, he owned a pharmacy and he did this stuff. You'll bill for the insurances for he's at one point it was $3 million. Mm-hmm. And then the heads of these insurance companies sit down with the Department of Justice and says, this guy, look how much money he billed, and the service is only supposed to be worth this much,
right?
And he billed this much. You need to go look into this. And so they take this BS information, the DOJ. So he's basically saying the DOJ is only acting on the information they're given from this. They're basically the health insurance company is basically saying, look, we did all the legwork. We already found this guy is corrupt. You just need to go prosecute him. And they would go and be shut these places down. And then pharmaceutical companies, healthcare companies are coming in and buying pharmacies.
Yeah.
And it's this vicious cycle. And it's never really, I've been in fitness a long time, but it's never really dawned on me how much more important it is to have places like that are majorly focused on preventative care and proactive care versus anything else. They would much rather you get diabetes and then deal with
and then treat that
and then deal with all that than do the things before it to keep it away, to pay for certain medicines before because maybe your body does something wrong or it's a very in-depth thing. Y'all should listen to it. But there's stuff that they can find out before, but hey, you're deficient in this or your body doesn't do this correctly. And if we do this kind of treatment, it'll make you feel better. You'll
kind of homeopathic recommendations.
So it's pretty wild. I was talking to you guys about that. They do a lot of that BP 157, those things. What the heck do they call them? It's an essential amino acid, but it's peptides.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of that, and they do a lot of stem cell treatment and stuff like that, and they have a lot of success. And he's, he has some data now. He's treated thousands of patients.
Interesting.
And
it's just one guy in his one operation.
Well, he has. Yeah, if you look at his website, it'd be if you're listening, you should go to his website, Ways to Well. He has a board of. He's not a physician. So he's hired a bunch of physicians to run it. So he has multiple physicians, multiple nurse practitioners, multiple nurses, and they all are they're cash based. One doctor can, with their system, can only see 6 patients a day. because he's like, you're spending an hour with the doctor.
Right.
They're going to go over your test results.
Find out what you're eating, what you're exercising.
Yeah, they're going to go into an in-depth deep dive.
Right.
So that makes them only be able to see 6 patients an hour, obviously, which a normal general practitioner is seeing. How many freaking people does
Who knows?
I mean, 20, 30. I mean, they're fitting 4 people in an hour or something, probably.
Yeah.
Something like that. So he wants to branch it out and grow it into different places, which I mean, I would hope that Huntsville's growing, and I hope something like that came here.
That'd be nice, because there's going to be, I think the events of the last 3 years have shown us that there is a reason to mistrust the typical care regime that you get from the healthcare industry. And I'm focusing on those words, the healthcare industry, I'm not saying that doctors are full of it and they don't know what they're doing, but a lot of the system, that industry has subsidized and pushed them all into this funnel of, well, you only have, I can give you a drug for this and I can give you a drug for that, and I'm treating these symptoms, but there's this root cause that actually has to do more with your diet and, you know, your activity level and the kind of things that feed into your overall health, not a drug to make the pain go away.
That's right.
And so that kind of thing is very encouraging.
When you really think about it, this is what he was really preaching. Like, pharmaceutical companies, healthcare companies are for-profit organizations that have duties to shareholders.
Right.
So they will do whatever it takes to make the most amount of money. So it's not about keeping people healthy.
No.
It's about making the shareholders the most amount of money.
Yeah.
Which is pretty scary. It's pretty scary when you're talking about, I mean, I mean, it's like these guys are, like I was telling you guys this morning about that BPC 157, and they've made it a dangerous drug so that people will stop doing it, so they can figure out a way to monetize it, so the pharmaceutical companies can put a patent on it and then sell it for however much money.
I'm at the point now, and I've said this many times before in this podcast, if the group is going this way and some industry is going this direction, I'm going to go the opposite direction. 9 times out of 10. But I do look at things myself. I don't just willy-nilly and say, well, I'm going to start smoking marijuana because they say marijuana is bad for you. One, I can't. And 2, there are other repercussions from it. So I avoid it or don't do it. But the bottom line is the crowd's going that way. Adam's going that way.
Don't you think it was scary? We can end on this. Don't you think it was scary that people, in terms of like medicine and healthcare and all this stuff, when certain things were going on, that they were like, stop doing research, just trust.
Right.
Trust us.
Faulty appeal to authority.
We know you guys need to stop doing research.
Can't question science
because you're getting false information.
Right.
You're like, well, but I can't look up other stuff. They're like, you shouldn't look up anything else. Just look at this, and then that's it. And you're like,
not only that, but they were shutting down people that were broadcasting widely accepted facts, even by the pharmaceutical industry. And it's just troubling. They were hampering speech and getting people, sharing information that we all kind of crave.
A lot of people would obviously talk about Joe Rogan and like how he just let basically free speech fly, like on his podcast. But there was another guy that recently was very important. Russell Brand. You ever listen to him?
Oh yeah.
I mean, dude, he says exactly what the heck's going on.
Yeah.
And like people do not like him.
No.
They tried to shut him down. They put some kind of sex scandal on him, and he was like, it's not gonna. I'm still going to do what I'm going to do.
He didn't care.
He doesn't care. And he seems like he called something recently. He said something to the effect of like, if the companies providing healthcare are profit driven and they have a reason to keep people sick, don't be surprised when profits go through the roof and people are still sick.
Right.
And that's exactly, that's what's going on. But he says a lot of wild stuff and has podcast taken down, and that's why he's on Rumble now.
Right.
He can't do any of the stuff on YouTube that, they'll pull him down in a second.
That's something we should consider also, is moving over to Rumble. I got Abby the intern looking at it.
I would do it. I've looked at Rumble before.
Yeah.
I mean,
we might have a better audience suited to what our conversations end up being.
Yeah, we can say all kinds of cuss words.
I don't want to do that. But
okay. That was just a joke. I figured that wasn't it.
Hey, speaking of other podcasts, I mentioned it right before we started recording, a Sean Ryan podcast. and he was just talking to Michael Schellenberger.
Okay.
And for the listener, Michael Schellenberger, he was one of the 3 or 4 reporters that Elon Musk led into Twitter to just look at the Twitter files back when they were Twitter. So anyway, Sean Ryan has him on his podcast, and they're talking about a whole gamut of things, one of which is right up your alley.
Ooh, aliens?
UFOs. And so he talks a little bit about it, and he's written an article or articles about this topic, and he seems to me a legitimate truth seeker, somebody that's like, okay, well, there's a whole lot of kerfuffle, but let's wind the clock back, Wiedershin style, and we'll look at that, and we'll just very slowly, methodically talk about these things, because the news these days is all about 30-second sound bites, news alert, and it just gets you drawn to this. Even if you're on a show like a talk show, it's just like these little quick bites, and you're arguing with the other guy. But he does a good job of kind of laying out the purpose of a conversation that you have about a topic. And the only way you can do that is if you keep your cool and you don't blow up and say, well, I disagree with you, and I think you're dumb and you're ugly. And just have a conversation about it, because we talked about UFOs. I personally disagree, and I have many reasons why, and I don't rule it out completely. And I have reasons for that. But bottom line is he does a good job of talking a little bit about it. But check out the Sean Ryan podcast. We'll have to tag him in a post or something like that, so other people see that podcast, because it's a great podcast.
I'll listen to the alien thing. I'll make sure Abby knows about it. Abby the intern knows about it. Cool. Well, that was fun. I just wanted to end a little bit on some fun stuff that I had in my brain. Happy New Year to you guys.
Happy New Year.
We hope you have a great year full of success and money. And if you have a lot of it and you just heard this, give some to us.
Absolutely. We love to take sponsors.
Yes.
And if you want to sponsor like a 2-minute spot where you can tell us, and we can do an ad for you, I'll read an ad.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
I promise. Cool.
Or buy us a car.
Yeah, you could buy us a car. 2 cars, though, so we each have one.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't be rude. Don't be rude. Yeah. One to share, like we're a couple of pores.
Unsavory.
Yeah, that wouldn't fly. All right. Well, this has been fun, Adam. We'll see you again next week, and Happy New Year.
Yep. Happy New Year.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.